the meds, 1 foot in the grave, 1 hanging off the ledge. But I ain't taking L's till I'm dead like I'm straight edge. Why you selling broke amps to bass heads? Rap game is EA, it's pay to win. I'll jack your chin, have you spinning out your Yankee brim. Now who the fuck you really think it is? It's Captain Kidd with a nose full of pearls again. Show up at a show, you know it's over. Pretty ladies in the crowd peeking over shoulders. A composer with a cool composure, laughing out loud all night at sets of posers. Your roster of imposters, gold chains and guinea names don't make you godfathers. What the fuck is this experience where everyone just sounds the same?
Alright, in 3, 2, 1, and what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 39th episode of the Hot Takes Podcast. We are doing, once again, another spotlight episode where we bring in local creators, artists from the New York and New Jersey area. And today, I am joined by Charlie Wolfe. Thank you for being here, my man.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Pleasure.
And I'm also joined by my cameraman, as always, Joe Critelli. So thank you for helping out and being here as well. So, how you been, man? How you been doing during quarantine? What have you been catching up on as far as, like, TV shows, movies, video games even?
I've been watching... What did I watch recently? I finally watched The Witcher. The Witcher was awesome.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3 is probably one of my favorite games of all time. That should be in everybody's favorite games of all time. Rewatch Mandalorian. Horror movies, man. Horror movies like nobody's business. I am on every dark website you could find trying to find some sort of horror movie that I have not fucking seen yet. And it's just like every night. It's super cursed, but I'm just getting through it.
So like every night, like a brand new
horror
movie that
you me and my homies will just like queue them up. We're in Discord together, and we're just like, all right, we got this one from Germany, and we got this one from Poland or whatever, and this one from Japan. All right, let's go. We've never seen any of these before. And then we usually strongly disagree with whatever the Rotten Tomatoes rating for the movie was. But because they usually suck.
Sometimes you just got to go into it blind.
Yeah, especially with horror movies. You can't trust anybody with horror movies.
Yeah.
Because critics are always going to say one thing. And audience are always going to say another thing.
Of course. And I feel like with critics always, it's like, it's not original or whatever. Or like, it's like the same type of thing.
Yeah, and especially with like slasher movies and stuff. Unless you like stuff like that, like the critics are always going to pan it.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, oh, it's the same thing. It's unstoppable killer guy does this. And it's like, yeah, well, that's the point.
Yeah,
dude.
that's the point.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it.
On Discord, you're able to watch something together through Discord?
We just we've been doing this for like 15 years now, but we'll just like queue up movies and we'll all have them paused at 0.
Oh my god!
We'll just be like, all right, go in 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, that's awesome.
Go. Yeah, I've been doing it with like the same 2 kids I've been friends with for like, I don't even know how long. Since Netflix and all that came out, streaming services were coming out.
And I'm assuming they don't live near here. If
no,
you're doing it off Discord, right?
Yeah, one of my best buddies, this kid Owen, he lives out in Oregon. We met on PS3, I think. Like maybe even the end of PS2. And then my other buddy Russell, he lives out in Michigan. He's actually moving up here soon, so
oh nice.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that. But yeah,
I remember, I think Netflix used to do it or might still, but I know Xbox, they had like the movie app game where, you know, all your avatars that you create will be in a little movie theater.
Yeah. The like together. PlayStation Home or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So that's what it reminds me.
Yeah. We're PC, so we pirate everything. Not out here paying money for that stuff. Well, but if it's good, I'll buy it after.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, the movies that you're watching, you're not really going to find on Netflix.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, sometimes you have a hard time finding them on Pirate Bay.
Oh, so, right.
Yeah.
Is that's still a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
You remember those old commercials where it's like, you wouldn't download a house.
Oh,
don't download a movie. It's like, yeah, no.
Like in front of like a DVD.
Yeah,
or
USB
like a
drive and a thing. Yeah. I would download a house, and I am going to download this movie. You cannot stop me.
Hey, if I could download a house, I would
exactly. Exactly. It's the next step.
Oh, man. So horror movies is what really you've been catching up on. What about like TV shows at all? Been watching anything in that?
Not really. I mean, I'm pretty quick with like binging whatever it is whenever it comes out. So like I feel like the fall was really the highlight because you had The Boys, which I love. The Boys. I binged that. I binged The Mandalorian. I binged The Witcher a little late, but I binged it. And those were like the 3 things I was like really, really looking forward to that came out, and I knocked them out like quick.
Yeah.
So I haven't really been watching. I mean, I couldn't even tell you last time I watched a TV show on like cable television.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah, everything's either like Netflix or Prime or Hulu or whatever, so I pretty much knock them out as quick as I can.
And even when it is a show, like, say, like Better Call Saul that airs on, like, AMC, I would still wait till that season's over and it's on Netflix.
Right, yeah, or get moved to Hulu or whatever, so then you can just watch them on there.
A lot of people are just, like, conditioned now to just, like, binge watch.
Yeah.
I think it's better off, to be honest with you.
I thought
remember
it was wild.
Things.
Yeah, I thought it was wild when Disney Plus came out and The Mandalorian, they were still doing weekly episodes.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were only 30 minutes
or
25 minutes. And I was like, this is crazy. I was like, I haven't done this since, I don't even know what the last thing I would have been watching on TV was. Breaking Bad, maybe?
Yeah.
When it was coming out, that I was actually like watching, as in like, every week tuning in, like whatever. So that was like the last thing I remember doing something like that with.
I think the last thing I did that for was like Arrow. Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, Arrow's a good one.
He's shaking his head because he's reminding me now of Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
So that's actually the last one.
See, I was late on the ride to that. I didn't get into Game of Thrones until probably season 7 was out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was super late because I do this thing every time where when people talk about stuff too much, I keep putting it off. So when Game of Thrones came out and me being like the hardcore nerd that I am, I was like, I'm going to back off from this. I don't want to watch this yet. I was like, I'm going to just wait, see what happens, whatever. And then time went by. Certain things got spoiled for me along the way, whatever. But then on my last deployment, when I was still in the Navy, I was like, all right, here we go. And like the first month, I just got all the way caught up because season 8 was actually coming out while we were doing that. And then we were like using the internet to like download the episodes, like the limited internet that we had on the ship. Everyone was like getting off the computers so that they could like slowly download the new episode of Game of Thrones so we could like catch up with before it got spoiled to us by Facebook or whatever. Because we were out to sea, so... Yeah, and none of us wanted it ruined, but yeah.
And it happens mad easy for it to get ruined.
Oh yeah, Facebook. It's terrible.
It'll be a title. It's like, you can't believe what happens, and it'll be a picture of what happens, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I was on an underway when I was out to sea when Infinity War came out.
Oh.
Yeah, and we were all like, don't fucking tell us what happens, because we kept like, I remember seeing the meme of like the snap. Yeah, and I was like, what does that mean? And it was like a week after the movie came out. I was like, fuck, I can't. I'm just staying off Facebook. I'm not getting on fucking anything. And then finally, I think we were in San Diego. And me and my homies like booked it to the movie theater to watch it. And then I was like, oh, okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I did not want to get that like
that's good. Yeah. That's not
it's
a movie
so easy
you want
to just
spoiled.
be scrolling and then see a meme.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Now I know what that is. You know what I mean?
The meme I remember from the whole dust snapping thing was... it would be like, oh, look, the new Infinity War Spider-Man action figure came out. Right. And it would be a box and nothing was in it.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. But that would spoil it kind of too,
Yeah, that would spoil the hell out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As far as like catching up with shows before like the next season premieres or whatever.
Right.
With Game of Thrones, I think I caught up when the 5th season was airing. So it was kind of late, kind of early, I guess, in a sense. Breaking Bad, I binged that whole show and luckily caught up for when they were airing the final episode.
Oh my god!
So I was binging it until the final episode.
Yeah, that's
basically
fucking crazy.
Yeah,
that's a dangerous game.
It is a dangerous game because I'm like binge watching. It's like, all right, what time is it? All right, I got an hour.
I got until Friday the 25th.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny as fuck.
Yeah, man. Video games wise. You were saying, were you playing Witcher 3 during quarantine?
I replayed it a little bit. Me and my homies just got into Sea of Thieves. Been playing that for like 3 or 4 days now.
Okay.
That's pretty fun. It had been a while since we had something that was like really co-op dependent, and we kind of miss, games like that a lot. So we did that. What else have I been playing? Red Dead 2. Still playing a lot of Red Dead 2 online. They finally patched it because that shit was broken.
Is it good now?
It's pretty good now, yeah. I would call it worthwhile. Still a lot of microtransaction bullshit, but honestly, if you're playing a AAA game, you're not going to be able to avoid that anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like most companies are just cop-outs now with all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. I'm actually at a point now where I'm enjoying it, and there's enough like content. It's not like GTA 5 yet, where there's like so much shit to do online, but it's a little more streamlined, a little more whatever, and they're kind of slowly creeping into the realm of like how much content GTA 5 has.
Okay.
So I've been really enjoying that. I still play the WWE games.
Nice.
I'm a huge wrestling fan, so I still play I have 2K19. 2K20 was literally so bad that they've canceled 2K21.
Did they really?
Yeah, they canceled 2K21 and they're skipping to 2K22 because
wow.
which has never happened with an EA game like that before.
Right.
Yeah. So skipping the 2K22 because 2K20 was so garbage and so bugged. But I'm a huge wrestling fan, so I still like playing 2K19 and like doing all that sort of stuff. Still like that's like a pastime. You know what I mean? Like I'm not really playing anybody in it, but I'll just go on there and mess around.
Are you kind of happy about that they're taking off a year to maybe spend more time on making the game better and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that's good because the bottom line is most EA games kind of suck in some way. You know what I mean?
Like
the
2K,
yeah, and you can't. Feasibly, you can't crank out a game every year and expect it to not be bugged or not be whatever or not. You know what I mean? It's going to have something, you know, at this day and age. Like, there's too much that goes into gaming. And then if you're just recycling the same engine over and over and over again, it's really not going to look any better either or play any better or whatever because you've probably already capped, you know? And you can't make a new engine in a year and then pump out a new game on it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think taking a break with them is good. But people want, you know, they want Madden 2K21 and 22 and 23 and 24 because you want the new players and you want the new whatever and you want the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword with that, like with the sports gaming community, I guess.
For sure.
But then you get the off-brand ones, and that's like where it's at, like Rocket League.
Rocket League's excellent.
Like Rocket League it's soccer.
Yeah.
You know, it's soccer basically, but because it's not FIFA. There's like so much more that you can do with it, and it was its own like separate game.
Yep.
So I would like to see stuff like that happen.
Hell
like
yeah.
give me like a football game that's like the New Jersey Hitmen, like it used like the XFL back in the day or whatever, and it's its own separate thing. Just make up the teams and make up characters and just make it a really good game, and everybody will go by that. Like I don't care if I'm playing as the Steelers or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just give me a game that doesn't suck.
Okay.
And I'll play that. You know what I mean?
I could dig with that.
I just want to play the sports. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
Rocket League does everything now.
Rocket
Well,
League is the
almost. They got their basketball mode and hockey mode now. It's and this other game called Ball Bouncer or something or
that game will have you screaming though.
Yeah.
Primal Fury.
Rocket League is like one of those games that I can get aggravated at, but still want to play it. A lot of games nowadays for me, if I get too aggravated with them, I'm like done with them. I'm not big with like video games that much in general anymore. Right. So, but Rocket League is one of those games I could just keep on playing. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. We could get right into the questions. We had to delay this pod because of the storm that we had and whatnot, which was absolutely crazy.
Sucked.
Do you know the name of what that hurricane was called?
Isaias?
Is that what it was?
I think it's Isaias. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, crazy. Luckily, I was.
I'm not cultured enough to pronounce that properly. I do know it's not Isaias, so that's all I know.
Yeah, what a crazy storm we had.
Yeah, that was a little bit much on top of everything else. I was like, okay, like you don't need to knock my power out too. Like we can chill for a second. Like,
luckily for us,
pretty
quick,
just like Sandy.
Yeah,
pretty quick compared to other people.
Yeah, 100%.
Even up the street, it was another like 2 or 3 days.
Oh well, yeah, Joe's 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
I was suffering when I was on freaking Xbox.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
I think the hospital grid helps us, honestly.
Ooh,
that's my opinion. At least for Wyndham, that's my opinion.
Yeah,
because we're right up back at Centra State. So.
Yeah, like the Wyndham Raintree and like
the Verizon Center, because we have that Verizon Center.
They are both there. Yeah, that's right.
I think that. I mean, that's my personal whatever, but
it could very well be it. Yeah. Our friend, and he said to say what's up too. Joey Stans, he was probably the longest without power. I think
Where
he went
did he
like
go to?
4 or 5 days. He is by Township, I think, or something like that.
Oh, really? Yeah. I think Steve was actually Sino was close to that too.
Yeah,
Sino's right across from Township.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was. I think he was. Is he Saturday maybe?
Yeah, I think that was the
he was
same
Saturday
time
or
as
Sunday.
Joey.
Maybe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Sucked.
When you think things can't get
I know,
any worse,
exactly.
It just happens.
You could just see it on people's faces. They were just cleaning up their branches, and they were just like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what the fuck is with this year?" I wiped the fucking sweat off my face. Dude. I'm gonna wind up taking this mask off because I'm sweating.
You're good, man.
Fuck.
Do whatever you want.
My glasses keep fogging up. I can't see.
So yeah, we're just gonna get right into the questions. They're pretty basic questions for the most part. We got a little off topic or whatever. No big deal at all,
cool.
you know. So really, the first question is, what made you decide to get into the music world? What made you decide that you wanted to start rapping, and when?
Right. I mean, I was always an audiophile since I was a kid. Like, my dad raised me on a lot of music, a lot of different types of music. I got older, I got into a lot of heavier stuff, which is still, you know, I mean, that's my bread and butter, really, is like a lot of like folk, indie, hip-hop, and then anything heavy, like hardcore, death metal, all that sort of stuff. I'm a huge fan of that kind of music. And it was actually Sandy, really, because I just moved here, because I grew up in Pennsylvania. And I had moved here my junior year, and then senior year when Sandy hit, I started hanging out with Andrew Lead. Because he lives up the street from me in Wyndham. Yeah. And him and I were walking around every day because we didn't have power and whatever. And he used to freestyle all the time, and he was really, really good at it. And him and I listened to like a lot of the same similar hip-hop, you know, kind of the more underground, like weird stuff, and then all the like 90s classics and all that. And I was always good at English. He knew I was good at English. So one day he was kind of like, yo, have you ever thought about rapping? I was like, no, absolutely not. He's like, you should just start doing stuff. So we just started like writing stuff or whatever. And it was just like a joke really in the beginning, you know what I mean? Yeah. But then it kind of just wound up being something that I enjoyed doing. And then eventually, I would say within the past 2 or 3 years, I got to a point where I'm actually like, you know,
like you want to be serious with it kind of
deal. Not even that I want to be serious with it, but just that I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah,
like that now I listen to it and I'm like, I know that I'm good.
Yeah.
And if I show you my stuff and you don't think it's good, it might not be your preference, but like objectively, I can rap well. Yes. You know what I mean? As far as like the stuff that makes up what rap is.
Right.
Like lyrics, punchlines, you know, rhyme scheme, etc., stuff like that. So, it's been like 8 years, I guess.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that you know you're good, and it's great that you love it. I mean, if you're happy with it, that's that's the most important
and that's my biggest thing, is just getting to a point where you're like, you're pleased with the product that you're putting out. You know what I mean? I could give a shit about, I know it sounds corny to say that, but I could give a shit about how many people actually listen to me.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I have no aspirations of doing tours and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if that fell in my lap, I would be like, oh, this is great. But I'm not one of those dudes that's like, I'm going to blow up and like whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, same deal with like the podcast too. I don't care who listens to it or whatnot.
Right, yeah.
I just like to talk. I like seeing new faces. I like seeing old faces that I haven't seen in a while. You know, it's just
and as
like
long
a
as
fun
it's
thing
fun
to do,
and you're happy with how it's coming out, then it's like, what does it matter? You know?
Right. Exactly.
Totally.
Always how I looked at it. You know. So, did you have someone or something as an inspiration when making your music?
Oof. Definitely. There's this group called Slang Corp, out of North Jersey. That once again Andrew showed me, the one guy in particular, GDP, and I just really, that was kind of like the headway in for me, because they were a bunch of like, they were pretty like suburban white boy type, like middle class, you know what I mean, but the beats that they had and the way that they were rapping and the stuff that they rapped about was so much more relatable to me than anything on the radio. And that's where I was like, whoa, I could make stuff talking about who I am and what I like to do, and have it still be, and my own problems and my whatever, and have it still sound good. Whereas up until that point, the only stuff that I really listened to where I was like, oh, this is really, really good, was like the 90s stuff. It was like Wu-Tang, Big L, like all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
You know, I was like, oh, this is dope. The mainstream stuff I'll listen to because I think it's fun and I like a lot of the beats. But when it came to like lyrics and stuff like that, I was like, you know, obviously I can't relate to this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not A$AP Ferg.
Right,
I don't have that life, you know what I mean, in any way, shape, or form. So it's like, that was the first group where I was like, okay, whoa, like I relate to this. Like I understand what these guys are saying, and it's in my wheelhouse. You know what I mean? So that was one of the first things.
And I'm sure seeing an example like that definitely also pushed you to be like, oh, I could rap about this too.
Yeah, exactly. And it took me a long time to get to that point, because it took me a long time to understand that I could do that, to get in a space where I was comfortable writing about that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And which is what this whole EP is that I'm working on, basically, is that. And also getting, especially getting the sounds and the beats and like the recording style and whatever to make it sound like that. You know what I mean? So that took a long time to get to that point as well.
Well, what was this group? What something Corp?
Yeah, Slang Corp.
Slang Corp.
Yeah, but if you really, GDP is the main guy. If you looked up GDP, you would find everybody else. And one of the dudes, Space Jesus, actually wound up becoming like a medium popular EDM artist.
Yeah. All right, so you already said when you really got serious making music was like 2 years ago, you would say, right?
I would say, I mean, serious for a minute, seriously liking what I'm putting out probably 2 years ago, I would say. You know, it depends how you define serious, though. You compare my serious to Steve's serious, to See No Evil serious, not the same thing.
Right.
Kids made 2 albums in 6 months. You know, like I can't do that. You know what I mean? So I give him shit about it all the time because I won't like how something will come out and he'll say like, "Dude, it's fine. I'm like, "You shut the fuck up! Like, you just made 2 albums in 6 months. Like, I don't want to hear your fucking opinion." He's just like on a different. His brain with that stuff is just ridiculous. So
I feel like just always running kind of deal.
Constantly.
Yeah,
constantly. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. So maybe I should have worded it differently, like not serious in making music. You did say before, like you don't mind if you don't get big or whatnot. You're just doing it for being fun or whatnot. What about as far as like promoting? It was like, all right, I want to start promoting this music and whatnot.
Yeah, so that's kind of another thing with me a lot with like where hip hop is currently is I forget who said this, so this is not an original whatever by me, but hip-hop is pop now, right? Like, rap is the pop music of today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe 10 years ago-ish, less, it was still Bieber and Taylor Swift and whatever. But now, even then, you listen to those kind of pop stars, and the instrumentals that they sing over sound more rap-oriented.
Yeah.
It's all bass and drums now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because rap is now the mainstream music. You know what I mean? With guys like Kanye, those kind of dudes. Like, those are the guys that really kind of projected it. I guess Eminem, too, would have been probably one of the first ones where it was like, these guys are like A-list celebrities now. You know what I mean? So it became pop music. And with that came this flood of people trying to do it. Obviously, there's like the stereotypes about like the SoundCloud rapper. You know what I mean? Like, follow my link or whatever. Because there is so much of that. And my issue with a lot of it is that it is all the fucking same. Not even musically. Like, I'm not talking about people's styles, but the way that they present their promotion and whatever, where it's like the same copy and paste. Like, here's the same, everyone has the same style. They all have the same imagery. Go comment on my shit, repost my shit, fucking fire emoji, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, it's all the same. And I think that rejects a lot of people from listening to people's music.
I definitely see that.
It looks fucking corny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it looks fucking corny. There's no other way to put it. So that was something that I recently tried to, like, stray away from when I really started making stuff that I was, like, proud of and whatever, and not me rapping over a trap beat that we found on YouTube for fun. You know what I mean? That we would put out on SoundCloud and stuff. With the recent stuff that I've been putting on Spotify, and especially with the EP that I'm working on right now, I've been trying to kind of tone that back and work more on, like, the art aspect of it.
Okay.
And in promoting stuff that is original and cool and
unique.
Yeah, and made by people. You know what I mean? Made by people that I know and other people that support me and who I support. Instead of this, like I said, that copy and paste promotion style that to me is just so, I can't stand it.
It's overdone.
Yeah,
it's overdone.
I can't stand it.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting
but that's my
take
own,
on that.
you know, that's my own personal hipster whatever too, where I'm like, you know, I want to be original. I want to whatever, you know, so a lot of these guys, you know, they still do fine doing it that way, so.
Oh,
good for
sure.
them.
But there's nothing wrong with being original.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
Nothing wrong with
if you're
doing
getting your money and
different.
whatever, and that's what you want, then, you know, good for you.
Oh, yeah,
but
right.
That's never been my thing, like I said, so.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you keep all your throwaway tracks? And
I do not. Steve fucking does.
Okay.
Steve all the time will be like, do you remember this verse you recorded in fucking 2017 over this, like, whatever instrumental? And I'm like, no. And he'll play it, and he knows every word, and I can't even remember my own verse. And he's like, you should have released this. I'm like, this shit fucking sucks, like, whatever. So I don't keep a lot of throwaway tracks. I don't like to listen to them.
Do you like get cringed out on your own stuff?
Perfect word, cringed out. Yep.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, it's like, I literally like shudder listening to it. I'm like, oh, ugh.
Gotcha.
Can't believe I ever thought that this sounded okay. Like, fuck this.
I wanted to ask you that question because I asked Danny that as well, and he said he kept everything. So I feel like, I mean, I do understand the cringiness because I look at my old videos and stuff too, and it's like, oh yeah. But I think it's always good to have just to maybe like look back on or that sort of deal, or like even maybe learn from them too. I was thinking like how you're saying Mancino, he showed you that verse that you did.
Right.
and you might have not liked it, but he liked it. Maybe bring that verse into a new track or something like that.
We talked about that a lot with me making this EP, was that there was some stuff I rapped, certain bars and whatever, over either YouTube instrumentals or whatever, stuff that we couldn't post on streaming services, basically, like actual streaming services, not SoundCloud, because obviously that is non-profit, so you can post whatever you want on there, sample whatever you want, whatever.
Right. If
you're posting it on Spotify, they clean those for samples and whatever profit use and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to kind of use lyrics from certain songs from back in the day and put those into the new stuff so that they don't go to waste, because I feel there is stuff that I still love that I put out back then that just never saw the light of day besides my phone and a few people's emails, and that was it. So I still try and get some use out of them for sure.
And I'm sure it's lyrics that mean a lot to you too, and express yourself well. And yeah. Okay. So you go by Charlie Wolfe. Mm-hmm. I always known
Zach.
You as Zach.
Right.
So why the change of name?
Just my middle name.
Just your middle name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just kind of I don't know. Everyone always has just called me Wolf.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like, you know what I mean? Like if you were to talk to people that we went to school with or whatever, especially local people, if you were to say you couldn't just say Zach and whatever, you know what I mean? It's Wolf. If you said Wolf by itself, everyone would know who you're talking about that knows me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of everybody in high school always called me Wolf. You know what I mean? The only people that call me Zach, I think, are probably Todd Bitsko and my mom. And that's about it. So I just thought Charlie sounded better. That was just what I had on Instagram at the time, too, that I made years before. So I was like, all right, yeah, we'll just use Charlie Wolfe.
In person, in conversation, I mean, you're telling me that most people will just, if someone wanted to get your attention, they'll just say, hey, Wolf.
Yeah.
But Charlie, do people use that as your name in conversation?
Yes, which was kind of weird in the beginning, because we started playing shows, after I got home in November, and they would put me up there by Charlie Wolfe, and I was really the only guy on a lot of the set list that just went by a name, where I wasn't See No Evil, or I wasn't, a rap name, a moniker.
Yeah.
And so people were much quicker, if you go by a moniker, say your name was fucking Lil Boy Frank, whatever, and you rapped, people are going to come up to you and probably ask what your actual name is. Or if your name was, Trap Lord or whatever, people are going to come up. They're not going to say, yo, Trap Lord or whatever. They're going to come up and they're going to ask what your name is.
Right.
You know what I mean? But because I was putting Charlie Wolfe, I would get off stage and people just came up to me and would be like, yo, your name's Charlie, right? And so I was like, yeah, whatever. And so we played a couple shows, and then I was working at a place in Asbury where a couple people there knew me as Charlie. And then other people would come in that I would know or whatever, and might call me Wolf or might call me Zach or whatever. And so it was people would be coming up to me and be like, yo, is your name Charlie or Zach? And I'll be like, it really doesn't matter to me. You can use whatever you want. You can just call me Wolf. But I always just thought Charlie Wolfe had more of a ring to it as far as for musical whatever.
Sure.
I like the sound of it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you too. Why didn't you just go with just Wolf? But I feel because everyone already calls you that kind of deal, you want.
And also, Wolf is that's so overused in media. Not Wolf as my name, but Wolf as in the animal. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's Xavier Wolf as a rapper. There's plenty of dudes with Wolf in their name or some sort of whatever. And so I wanted it to just be. There's something I like about just having your name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And have it be, I don't know, not this big extravagant thing of well, what does this mean? Well, what does that mean? Well, what is, you know what I mean? Oh, it's got all this stuff on it and all these fucking caricatures and whatever the fuck, different letters and fucking hieroglyphics in people's names and shit.
Right,
you know, so it's I just being yeah, Charlie Wolfe. Look up. And it's easy, too. You know what I mean? If I just met you and I was yeah, I'm Charlie Wolfe on Spotify. That's much easier to remember.
Oh,
I feel
absolutely.
Than some random pile of bullshit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. You are the second artist that I've had on here that uses their middle name as their stage name kind of deal.
Who else?
A friend of mine who's a DJ, he goes by, his name's Aaron, but he goes by Olaf.
Right.
And I asked him, I was like...
His middle name's Olaf?
His middle name is Olaf.
Why wouldn't you go by that? That's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and what he was saying was he never told anybody what his middle name is, even if they asked. It's what's the O? What's the middle name? People would be curious.
People?
He would never tell them.
That's sick.
And once he said, yeah, I'm going to start getting serious with music, as in putting it on Spotify and everything like that, I'm just going to go by Olaf now.
Right.
He thought it was because of the snowman from,
from
Frozen. but it's just his middle name, which is cool.
That's
I like
cool,
that. Yeah. So being with OCD, Do you just do lyrics for the song, or are you much more involved with your process in your songs as far as making the tracks and making the beats and everything like that?
I mean, it really depends on who it's coming from. And, you know, the thing is with me in this EP, too, is that I was kind of moving away a lot from, like, whatever. Because everyone's kind of getting to the point now where, like, we're finally at a point where everybody's making their own stuff, and then we're collabing when we want to. You know what I mean? So it's not a matter of, like, we're all, like, it's all, like, back in the day, every track was me and Steve. Right. It was always me and Steve, me and Steve, me and Steve, me and Steve, occasionally me, Steve, Danny, occasionally me, Steve, Andrew, like, whoever. Now we're at a point where, like, you know, Danny's putting out an album. Steve's putting out a second album.
Yeah.
Camo's putting out singles all the time. You know, everybody's kind of doing their own thing. So we're getting to this point now where people are just kind of, you know, getting together when we want to, and we're acknowledging what each other sounds like. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that Steve and Danny could get on together that I would not fit on. Reversely, there's a lot of stuff that me and Camo could get on together that maybe Steve or Danny wouldn't fit on. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it comes to production style, I mean, if I'm getting a beat from Danny or something, obviously yes, because Danny produces everything on his own, which is why he probably also keeps all of his stuff, because he produced it all too, which is insane to me. Mm-hmm. But, you know, as far as with Steve and I don't think he's really ever recorded me on a beat that he had done. So a lot of it with him and I is just, you know, we're at that point now where he says, like, do it like this or do it like that. And I know what he's talking about because we've recorded together so many times that I know, like, what he wants me to punctuate or whatever, you know what I mean? Change my voice on, like, all that. So that's kind of the biggest part of it, like, production-wise, is usually, because Steve records all my stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's usually me and Steve, like, you know, him kind of, me bouncing stuff off him bouncing stuff off me about how I should do my verse, how whatever, you know, like, change, you know, swap this around, move these two lines, whatever. So that's kind of, him and I are on that, like, mind meld game at this point with most of the projects that I'm, like, doing now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a very good team effort, you know, teamwork.
I mean, like I said, me and Steve have known each other. How long has it been now? 7 years? 7, 8 years, I guess now. So.
And what, right when you met, you guys were
Andrew
playing around
Andrew introduced me to him.
Andrew
and was like,
you.
He's like, yeah, you need to listen to this kid. And, you know, Steve's younger than me, obviously. And at the time I was 17, or 18, so he must have been 15 or 16.
Right.
And I was listening to his stuff, and I was like, what the fuck? So then I wound up hitting him up. He hit me up. We chatted, and then, you know, that was it. Off to the races from there.
Beautiful. Awesome. So you were saying when we were texting on the phone, you're more into, like, trap too, right?
Yeah.
And what I thought was, like, so trap is, like, what, like, kind of like EDM kind of beat and rap, like,
yeah,
together,
I would say so,
basically?
generally. Like, if I'm listening to, like, radio hip hop, I'm mostly listening to trap. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of my go-to if I'm listening to, like, mainstream stuff. Otherwise, it's like I said before, it's all 90s stuff. But I like a lot of, like, I love A$AP Ferg. Like, I love stuff like that. I love, I got into JPEG Mafia recently, he's pretty sick. I hadn't really tuned in any of his stuff. He's dope. You know, but yeah, I just kind of loop through. I mean, it's hard to, I think it's hard to kind of describe a lot of the stuff that I listen to without just using the blanket word underground.
Yeah.
Because I like subgenres, but I hate, like, subgenres.
Sure.
Where, like, and you'll see that a lot in the heavy music community too, where it's like, this is technical mathcore fucking death metal subgenre, like synth,
like a crazy
synth dark wave. Yeah, and I'm like,
hybrid of
like,
sort.
it's death metal with synths.
Yeah,
that's all it is. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I try not to use, I guess, like, genre words a whole lot because it's just such a pain in the ass to then, like, describe to people.
Okay,
I'd rather just be like, look, like, this is what I'm trying to describe. You know what I mean? And just showing it to them in that way.
Easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do you play any instruments at all? And if so, which ones?
No.
See, I always saw you as, like, well, first I thought you were a singer. I thought
I screamed for a long time, yeah.
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 Scream for the heavy metal and stuff like that. But I could see you as, like, a drummer or something like that.
I never really had the space. I grew up in an apartment, so like I wanted to play the drums, so I just never had the speed. You can't play drums in an apartment building. You know what I mean? No. Yeah. And then I played a little bit of bass, but like I mean, I never got past junior level. And then really once I started doing vocals, I started doing the heavier stuff. Obviously, that was more when I was like, this is what I like to do. You know what I mean? Like this is what I'm generally okay at, and like this is more in my wheelhouse than playing an instrument or whatever.
Were you rocking out with a couple of buddies?
Yeah. I used to play in a death metal band with a couple of kids I know. Hi, Babjack and all them. Love you guys. And we used to just fuck around. I mean, we based a lot of our stuff off. I don't know if you've ever watched Metalocalypse.
That sounds so familiar.
Yeah, on Adult Swim.
Yes,
the parody death metal band show.
Yes,
we played a lot of stuff like that.
That show was funny.
The kids. I mean, I was by far the least talented kid in that band. The kids that I played with, the Heffernan brothers, Josh Biddle, Babjack. I mean, those guys are incredible musicians. So those guys were insane.
Nice.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to learn an instrument eventually one day?
I don't know. Maybe if I ever got the time and patience, I guess.
Sure.
But I don't a lot. My dad played guitar a lot when I was growing up, and I always liked that, but I just never had I don't know.
Patience kind of deal for it?
Yeah, the patience for the dexterity and the learning the chords and whatever. Like, I was never that kind of thing.
Right. I mean, the basic chords, which you could play around and do, put them in all different orders. You could come up with a couple different things, and it's just fun to play.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy to learn on your own.
Yeah.
And even like the bar chords and whatnot, it's learning how to read music is what I think will take the longest out of everything.
I think if I were to do something, have you ever seen the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling?
No, but I've heard of it.
It's a really good movie, but the soundtrack for that, this kind of like synthy 80s pop, but kind of like dark. You know what I mean? Like they had a lot of stuff back then, kind of like Talking Heads at times had stuff like that. A lot of weird like 80s electronic influence bands. I really like that stuff, like the drums and the synth and the whatever. So I think if I were to ever really learn something, I would get into the production aspect of that.
Okay.
Like synths and drum pads and yada yada, and like learn how to make that kind of music.
Okay. Awesome. So how many songs do you have collectively? And that's including... So you are working on your EP right now. Is this going to be your first EP?
Yeah, this will be my first actual like multi-song
awesome
EP. Yeah.
Are you okay with saying how many songs are going to be on it?
If I knew, I would tell you. It's going to be short. I mean, it's not going to be long. I never wanted it to be long.
Yeah.
I hate hooks. I hate doing choruses. Can't stand them. And so a lot of them are just, it's going to be very into my verse, into, if I have a feature, into their verse, and then that's it. Throw in a couple, like I'm gonna do a couple quotes. I got like a couple audio from my friends and stuff like that of like goofy shit over the years that I'm gonna kind of like throw in there. But it's gonna be short. I think right now it's maybe like 6 or 7 songs.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Yeah, that's a nice amount.
Yeah, the songs themselves are just a little short. You know what I mean? I think the longest one right now is just over 2 minutes. I think 2.5 minutes maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's going to be a very tight, like, I want it to be like a roller coaster. I want it to be real fast and just like crash. You know what I mean? And then just have that be it.
Gotcha. So the EP, what is that? The intro that I'm going to be previewing before the little bit.
That's going to be the single, Sterility Funk, which I don't know if that's going to be the final name of it. That's the name of the instrumental.
Okay.
That's going to be the single for the album. And then a buddy of mine did visuals, whatever. I'll give you his Instagram so you can like tag him in that when you show it. But I'm going to release that. My friend Vladi, who's doing the art, who is fucking amazing. She's doing like a little kind of animated thing to it too. So that's probably going to come out as well, because that's kind of collectively my favorite song on the EP, and her and I's favorite song. She's been helping me a lot with like the creative process of it. I've been bouncing a lot off of her as far as like what sounds good, what doesn't, what fits the rest of the songs, like yada yada. So that one's probably going to be the single, and just kind of the like, it's going to be that, and then a week later will be the EP. Okay. I'm not going to do a lot of, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I'll just set up one day and I'll put on Instagram like, hey, Friday, Sterility Funk. Next Friday, Dog Graves. And that's it. So, yeah.
What is it called? You call it the intro, right? The intro, or what's it called? Like the introduction to an album kind of deal?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
The intro to it. I think I mean, the beat goes great with the move. It's The Shining, right?
Yeah.
I thought it went great with it.
It's chaos. The beat is total chaos. That's why I was really excited to work with the dude that I'm working with. His production is insane, and the guy is like the epitome of an underground like legend to me that doesn't have nearly as much credit as he should. But yeah, and he's been around for a while. His production name is Aoi. He's in Australia.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I wound up linking up with him through Instagram, and kind of had to fight for my whatever to get him to produce for me. I had to. He was like, "Yeah, I only work with people that I know, whatever." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Like I get that. Like, you know, he's very like art. He's intense about his art."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "All right, let me send you some stuff." You know what I mean? So I sent him like 3 songs that were never released or any of that, just like stuff I had done. And then he was like, "Okay, yeah." And
nice.
Then I think in February he sent me a beat tape of, I think it was 70-something beats.
Really?
Yeah, that were sent to like me and 2 other dudes that he was working with.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like,
good for you, man. That's awesome.
I can't even conceive this. You know what I mean? Like I was like, what do I do with 70 beats?
Yeah,
so,
right.
You know, even now I'm still working through it and seeing, you know, if some of the other ones haven't been claimed, I'll probably buy them at some point to do other stuff with.
Like, yeah,
exactly. So.
Well, good for you. You sold them.
Yeah, and I got what that was who I wanted to work with. There was never a question in my mind about who I wanted to produce this as far as people that I knew of. You know, this was the guy, so it's cool to be working with him. And It's cool to send him stuff and have him be like, oh, this is dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, right, you know, he's on Australian time. So I'm like hammered at midnight. He's like messaging me back making tea at like 8 a.m. Like, yeah, this is good. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, I'll send you some more shit tomorrow. Like, whatever. So.
So besides the EP, how many songs do you have, or do you think you have? Do you have a lot?
I mean, I don't. God, it depends what you count as songs, I guess. Like completed. You mean like completed, like, or recorded verses?
Let's just go with. All right, let's separate them. Let's go with ones that are finished and you've released, say, or maybe not have released and they're finished, and go with the ones that, you know, aren't finished yet.
I would say between 30 and 40.
Okay.
Probably finished, if I had to guess, that are either released or just not released but finished. Ish, in that area. Verses recorded, that's got to be up near 60 or 70, I would guess.
Really?
Maybe. That might be high. It might be closer, probably to 50 or 60, I would say. Probably where I recorded one verse, or maybe it was, you know, barely even a verse. Maybe it was only 4 or 8 lines, you know. That it never saw the light of day because I didn't finish it or didn't like it or didn't whatever, you know, this side or the other thing.
Gotcha. And like we were saying before, it could be something that could be thrown in.
Yeah, 100%. Some of it's getting recycled for sure, and, you know, using lyrics over and all that sort of stuff. Nice.
Okay. So, what platform do you usually see where you have the most plays or like listens to?
It's weird. One will shoot out every now and again. I really only check Spotify, honestly, but Steve will hit me every now and again and say like, because we all like kind of shared that one account that we use to for DistroKid to put our music out to all the platforms.
Oh yeah.
And it sends to everything. I mean, it's on Pandora, it's on YouTube, it's on whatever. That's the point of DistroKid, is that it shoves it out to every platform.
I didn't even think of Pandora, to be honest.
It's on iHeartRadio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whoever shouts out to whoever's using fucking iHeartRadio in 2020, but you can listen to my fucking music on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he'll hit me every now and again and be like, yo, you've got this many views on whatever. And I'll be like, oh, that's weird. But mainly I check Spotify. That's where, and I have, you know, the Spotify for Artists app is nice too, because you can really see your breakdown of like the cities and whatever that listen to you, and the countries, and even like the gender orientation.
All the
of, like,
analytics.
Songs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is just cool. It's not like I have enough numbers to give a shit about it, but it's just cool to look at it and be like, whoa, yeah, people over here. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah.
So.
I want to use DistroKid, right? DistroKid.
Yeah, distribution kid.
Gotcha. So DistroKid, I want to use that to like start spreading the podcast out, to like do audio only to like Spotify and even SoundCloud and stuff like that. Yeah. Speaking of iHeartRadio, I was on Facebook the other day.
Right.
And it was like, we want to hear from you. Like, we want you to be the next big podcast on our thing or whatever. It was like, like iHeartRadio podcast. And it's like, yeah, you know, send me what you've done. You know, write a pitch, that. I'm like, it's iHeartRadio, but fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm working on a little highlight reel now.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Just to show.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Exactly. Why not?
My favorite podcast just signed an exclusive deal with Spotify.
Rogan?
And I was like, oh no, not Rogan. It's called Last Podcast on the Left. Yeah, they're really good. They do like serial killers, cults, paranormal stuff, whatever. They do like all of that sort of stuff, and they just do like really in-depth like historical whatevers of them. But on top of it, they're just like the most dark humor like motherfuckers on the face of the earth, and they're just
cool.
they're so funny. And I've been listening to that podcast for forever. I think they're on like 400 something episodes now.
Wow.
Yeah, they've been around for a minute, but yeah, they just signed an exclusive deal with Spotify, which I'm sure is like. That's got to be big money, I would assume.
Money.
Yeah, because I didn't even know that they did that. I didn't even know the places were at that point yet where they were signing podcasts for exclusive deals.
Right.
Which is dope. You said Rogan did that, though?
Joe Rogan, he's still on YouTube and everything else right now. I don't know when that deal's going into effect.
Right.
But, yeah, that was like news maybe a month or two ago.
So who did he sign the deal with?
Spotify.
Oh, with Spotify.
With Spotify.
Really? So he is moving off YouTube?
Yeah.
Wow,
moving
that's
off
fucking
YouTube.
weird.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I was like...
that was like the start of the whole thing, really, was him.
100%.
At least bringing it into the mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely.
That's like the king of podcasts right there.
Yeah.
So having, Spotify for the win.
They must have forked up some fucking money.
Oh, my God,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, 100%. And then I was thinking, it was like, it might not be the same without the video, because I always like watching the video.
Yeah, and he's like, pull up this video.
But Spotify has video podcasts too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I guess they do. Yeah.
they could still do that.
Right.
It will be weird though once it is off YouTube. Though.
Yeah.
But I love it though. So do you have a favorite song out of any of your projects, and why?
So I would say like released would either be it would probably be Crosshairs. That's out right now. I like Crosshairs. That was just like a fun song to do. It's very like heavy, kind of trap oriented, but I really like my voice on that track, just like how it was mixed and mastered. I like a lot of my lyrics on that track. Just came out cool. And when me and Steve played our last show back in February, I got like a really good response to it live.
Oh, nice.
So people were really liking it. Unreleased, I would say either that song I mentioned that you have, Sterility Funk, or this other one. These are all working titles still, but yeah, Demi Passage, because that one actually has a feature from this dude, real name, Hello King, who is an Australian rapper who I met through Aoi, that introduced me to. And so he's featuring on it, and he sent me over his vocals, and then Aoi's like mixing and mastering the whole thing to add our verses together. But he's just, the beat is a fucking horror movie. It literally sounds like almost like the Halloween, the Psycho, like like that thing, you know, like it's got that kind of in the background to the point where like it's almost hard to listen to, but in like a good way, you know, in like a really harsh, like in your face way.
Sure.
And I love how my verse came out. Real Name did an amazing job, and it was just cool to have that like collaboration come together, and then just have this like really chaotic like beat. It's just like you're just getting punched in the face listening to it, you know. So one of those two are probably my favorites that I'm doing right now.
I know you said that you weren't a fan of explaining like what kind of genre it is or whatnot.
Right.
What if you just told people horror movie?
Yeah, that's
that?
Pretty much what the idea for the EP was. You know what I mean? I really wanted it to just be. It's got a lot of '90s flavor in it, more than I initially expected.
Yeah.
More than I initially even wanted, really. But then I just found a couple instrumentals, and I got in a couple good writing spaces where I really wound up throwing down some like real '90s, just like good lyrics, consistent flow, like just good lyrics. So it's got a little bit of that on it, but I really wanted it to just be. I wanted it to be really chaotic, you know what I mean? I wanted it to be a total, just in-your-face thing that I would love playing live and love people listening to.
Yeah.
You know, I never wanted it to be something casual. This is not something you would just, like, put on, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it's something you're like, I want to listen to Dog Graves today. Like, I want to listen to this. You're never just, like, hopping on your phone and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll randomly put on whoever.
Right.
It's like something, like, I want people to specifically be like,
This is
what I'm in the mood for. Yeah, exactly. Like
okay.
it's like a headspace thing.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
This sounds pretentious as fuck, but yeah.
well, no, that's cool because it's like you're in your own space.
Yeah.
That music is in its own space kind of deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I want it to have the same effect on other people that it does when I listen to good music like that.
Sure.
You know, where I get in that mood from certain tracks and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were saying February was like the last time you performed, right?
Yeah.
How many like performances have you done?
Not many. I mean, overall, probably like around like 15 or 20, I guess, maybe.
Oh, that not many. That's
I get
a good amount.
counting the band I was in back in the day too. I think that's
sure.
probably about what it is. That might be high too. Might be closer to 10 to 15. But then when we got out, or when I got out of the Navy and I came back, we've played 2 shows. We only played 2 shows. I think in the winter was really all we had for. Yeah, that was it, right? Yeah, 2 shows at the Saint.
Okay.
In Asbury Park, yeah. Which our buddy Dustin, who runs Vengeance Promotions, set up for us, and really like he hit it off with me and Steve. Just like happened to listen to our music, really liked us. We opened for the first show, and then me and Steve played like basically ended the next show.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and just
Good
had a
connection
great time.
to have.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and he knows a lot of people in the music scene over there. So it's just nice to have like a. It was nice to be at a rap show rapping instead of like, oh, we hopped on this show with this band or whatever, but maybe they're not really into this kind of stuff, or you know, we went to this. You know, I would never do it, but like open mic stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I've never done that. I would never do that. But it was nice to just be in a place where you're like, everybody that's coming here knows this guy, knows his promotions, knows like what he does and whatever, you know, and what he's about, and they're here for, you know, like good rap music generally. So it was cool to just have that like community whatever kind of thing. But yeah.
Well, why wouldn't you ever want to do like an open mic?
I'm too weird for that shit.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I get so, I already, like, even at both of those shows, like, I get so nervous right before I go on stage. I get stage fright like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it's not until, like, the first 2 lyrics are out, and then I'm good, I'm in the zone. And I'm, like, very intense. I try and get in people's faces a lot. I try and, like, stare people down, like, get very, very aggressive. Yeah. Like, I've always tried to kind of do that no matter what music I'm playing.
Very interactive.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I try to be. And the thing is, too, like, I can't fucking dance. You know what I mean? Like, I can't dance or do whatever the fuck rappers do, you know what I mean? And that's not the kind of music I make either, so I'm not going to be standing up there and fucking hitting some dance move while I'm, like, rapping about whatever disturbing-ass thing I'm fucking rapping about. It just doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? So I try and just get in people's faces. I try and be kind of, like, aggressive and whatever, and really, like, you know, kind of draw people into whatever it is that I'm saying. Really focus on what I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want you to see me and see that I'm saying the thing to you.
Yeah.
You know, not like the whole visual.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
You want the message to get across.
Yes.
You don't
exactly.
want the sideshow kind of.
I like a little, you know, if I could get a little something in the background. That was how I met the kid who did the Shining video. He was doing that at a show. That we played with him, with Dustin. And I met him, and I was like, oh, this is so sick. And we wound up talking. We like some of the same rappers and stuff. And he was sitting there, and he's got VHSs of, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Shining and American Psycho. And he's, like, swapping them out. And I was like, this is fucking sick. So when I got Sterility Funk back, I was like, oh, let me hit this kid up, see if he'd be down for this. And so he was like, oh, dude, this is dope. I wanted to do something today anyway. He sent that back to me in, like, an hour.
Awesome.
And I was like, cool. So it was like it's cool to go there and to meet people with like that similar mindset, especially into the weird stuff. You know what I mean?
100%. So if you don't mind me asking, how long were you in the Navy for?
Fucking 5 years.
5 years. Wow. were you like writing or anything during that time?
Yeah, I would try to. It was hard a lot of times, you know, to get yourself in that headspace when you're like just so distracted by the other thing, you know, that's going on. Because, you know, that's one thing that I always say in deference, whatever, to the military is that, you know, it is your whole life. There's no clocking out. You hang out with the people you work with. You're fucking sleeping with the people you work with. You're, you know, eat shit, shower, live with. Yeah. You know, there's no separation from it a lot of times. So it was hard for me a lot to get into the mind space of like, okay, I'm going to go do this creative thing, you know, because it was like you get off work and you're just like, oh, God.
Yeah,
I just want to go fucking play video games, whatever, chill. So I did as much as I could, you know, and then I would come back once every 6-8 months on leave, and me and Steve would record 3 or 4 songs maybe, you know, and then I'd leave again. So this was kind of one of my first times, too, where, like, I really had the opportunity to record as much as I want, which was kind of daunting to me at the same time because I wasn't used to used to writing for writing for a project.
Right.
Like a capacity. You know what I mean? I was used to like, okay, I did this one song 3 months ago. I just got home. Let me record it. You know, oh, okay, that sounds cool. I'll put it on SoundCloud, whatever. You know what I mean? This was the first time where it was like, oh, yeah, like I got to fill this space. I got this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want this whole thing to be done, to be complete. And that was kind of a different pressure on me I don't think I was really expecting. Whereas, like I said, that's why I make fun of Steve, because Steve will just pump out 2 albums.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like that. Like, it's just nothing to him. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it is something to him, obviously. He puts the work in, of course.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Still, like, his process with that kind of stuff is very fine-tuned at this point, because he's been with his own equipment, and he's been with whatever, and, you know, so he has the experience to just do stuff like that, you know?
You're not on leave now, right? Or
no, oh,
you're
God,
out.
no. Yeah.
Okay. Are you happy to be out?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you make like good friends though? Like I feel like it's a whole new set of brothers.
Yeah, for sure.
You
Yeah,
know what
I mean, I fucking hated it. I'll never sugarcoat that for anybody.
Oh, really?
I fucking hated it. Yep, and I'll talk shit about it to anybody that'll listen, and I don't feel bad about it. But yeah, a couple homies that I'm like really still down with, that were really, really good for me, looked out for me, paid for me when I was broke, you know, helped me out, whatever, that kind of shit. One of them was supposed to come up in April actually, which, you know, obviously got canceled by all this shit, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, I got still a couple good homies that I game with, or whatever. We make plans to go see each other. That's definitely something I learned getting out, is that we all became much more accustomed to like the traveling to see somebody thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas like when I was in, nobody ever hit me up like, hey, I'm gonna come out and see, besides Matt Fasano. Matt Fasano did do that.
I remember Fasano.
Yeah. It's a shit. He came out and visited me in Seattle one time. But yeah, people are weird about that. People never think like, oh yeah, my brother's in the military in South Carolina, let me go to him. It's always, we're waiting for him to come home.
Right.
Which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And people don't really like think of it like that, which I don't blame them for necessarily, but it is kind of like fucking annoying in the moment, because then it's like you get home, you crash land, and it's like, all right, I gotta see this dude on this day, I gotta go hopefully get laid with this chick on this day, I'm drinking on this day, you know, I got my mom and whatever family dinner on this day, you know, like it would be like your 10 days would be consumed by this, like,
sure, it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah, it was like a feeding frenzy of normal life would be what it was. You were just like starving for like regular shit. So you were just like, let me get everything that I can get in this time, and then I gotta go back. You know, so it's different, I feel like. Now we all know that. You know, me and my buddies, we know that. So we'll hit each other up. Yeah, they're down in Virginia right now. Oh yeah, I'll come up to Jersey this time. Yeah, I'll come down to VA. Like whatever. We plot shit out, you know. Oh, my family's here. Maybe we can meet there, and you know, whatever. So it's like, we got that going where we're still like, you know, we're still looking actively to hang out all the time,
right.
Which is cool.
No, that's awesome. And you brought up a good point, too, how it's kind of like, I'm sure, like, some families will visit people in the Army or Navy or whatnot in certain areas, like, make the trip to go down. I mean, road trips are fun anyway.
Yeah, of course.
You know, my boy just went into the Air Force. I don't know where he's stationed right now, but we talked about, I was like, yeah, like, me and my boys will make a trip. We'll take a trip down and visit you.
Split a fucking hotel, whatever. Yeah, do
exactly.
what you can. Yeah,
it'll be fun. We'll get to see your boy.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's something that should definitely happen more like across the board.
Yeah.
Because people get into the habit of thinking like, oh, well, he'll be home on leave again in 6 months, and that's my time to see him. It's like, that doesn't have to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, your schedule is no more strict than mine. If anything, it's probably less strict. So, you know, other people can shell out the time to, like, go see people and go whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also just to see the shit. I think it's important if you've got somebody, you know, like I said, I fucking hated it, but if you've got somebody like it's important to go see their shit. Go see where they're at and what they're doing, like, you know, especially if they're in the States, or if, you know, they're just stationed in the States temporarily, whatever. Go see, you know, go look at the shit. Like, go see what they're going through. Go see what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that you can understand, you know, what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
Instead of them speaking this, like, alien language to you, and you're just like, oh, yeah, I get it. Like, no, you probably fucking don't. Right. Because you've never seen it. You know what I mean?
Like some first-hand type shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for people who, like, you know, you have loved ones or close ones that are, you know, in the military or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But don't do it. Don't join. Don't.
Not the Navy?
Nobody.
No?
Nobody ever. Yeah.
All
Shouts to your buddy in the Air Force, but still, don't do it.
Okay.
Really don't do it.
So speaking of the pandemic, you know, your boy was going to come visit and whatnot, and not happening. Speaking of like shows, did you have any other shows planned out like for the rest of this year that just couldn't happen?
We didn't really have anything particularly planned out, I would say, but with Dustin and Vengeance, like I was talking about before, I'm sure we would have done quite a few by now. Because he was good with that stuff, and he's tight with the people that work the Saint and all that sort of thing. So, and I love it there. So I'm sure we would have played some more, which I'm not torn up about because I've kind of been refocusing on just, finishing the EP and all that anyway. Right. But it does, it kind of sucks. It's always a fun time. I like going to shows, drinking, talking about music, talking about whatever. Yeah. Making fun of fucking certain people's whatever,
sure.
Meeting new people that are really good, I got no problem, walking out of a set if I think you suck or if I think you're mainstream, like whatever, garbage. I got zero mercy, for that kind of stuff. It just really drives me nuts. So. But not like I'm up on my high horse about it. Just like I'm very, I try and be very respectful of the game. You know what I mean? And like of the roots of it. Like I was talking about before with it being pop and all that. I try and be very respectful of like, the people back in the day who like this was really like a whole craft to them.
Yeah.
Not like I have a trap beat and I repeat the chorus 8 times and that's a whole song.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's my own whatever with it.
Have you ever thought about going on tour like by yourself or with your group OCD?
I would love to go on tour. I mean, I think personally I would like to go. Like, I would go to Europe faster than I went to anywhere in America if you offered me a tour. And it's funny because me and Steve always joke consistently, like, my highest city, for some reason, is Frankfurt.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if it's because of the name, because I am German, but I don't know if it's because of the name, but for some reason, motherfuckers in Frankfurt just bump my music. Consistently, every time I drop a song, it shoots back up. And so it's kind of weird, and I think I like a lot of the scenes in the European countries because they're so small. And they're so tight-knit with a lot of, like, certain types of music because it's not mainstream to them, really. It's mainstream by American standards, which is mainstream to the world. But, for them, like, to have this tight community, I like that. Like, I think that that's cool to go over, to other places. I would totally do that, I would totally tour with Steve, Danny, Camo, any of them. I mean, it would be a weird variation of sounds,
right.
I think if anybody was to tour, it's Steve and Danny.
Steve and Danny together?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense to me. And, that's just they're the closest in like working mindsets and stuff like that, especially with Danny like producing his own stuff.
I was gonna say,
all
making
that.
The beats and everything.
And so they're just they're the most seasoned out of any of us when it comes to the whole package of it. You know what I mean? The production, the recording, the mixing, and the mastering. You know what I mean? Where I'm really only good at the recording. All I do is, I rap. Right. I know certain stuff, like I'm at the point now where I can talk to Steve like, can you pull the reverb out a little bit? Can you do whatever? Like I've learned, little tiny stuff, but they're the ones who have like,
all those
they have knowledge of the whole
knowledge.
thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's talk a little bit about OCD. Like, when was it like founded? When I remember talking to Danny, like people came and went.
Right.
But when was the group like founded? And who founded it?
So really it would be me and Steve.
Oh, okay.
Me and Steve and Andrew, I guess, really were like the initial people. I didn't meet Danny until after I had left. Steve met him, and then they started working together later. I was friends with Kevin. I forgot that Kevin even had a younger brother.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Steve was like, yeah, Smonty, like, he raps. I was like, what? But yeah, so, it was Vero, who actually said, I think was the one who said OCD. And then we kind of, like, were just whatever with it, and eventually it just we used it enough that it just became, like, the thing that we go to. I don't even know if any of us are really, like, particularly attached to it even, or like incredibly fond of it, you know what I mean? But it's just kind of like that's what we've used this whole time, so it's what we're gonna keep saying. Right. You know what I mean? So like, and it it fits well. So but yeah, I would say it was me, Steve, and Andrew. I would say, yeah.
And how long ago was that, would you say?
I mean, it would have been before I left, so that would have been 2013.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so like 7 years now.
I know you were saying, like, if you're going to go on tour with someone, it would be with this guy from the group, or it would be that guy from the group. But I just love that you have that small I wouldn't even call it a community. It's just like a group of people who are willing to help each other out and like listen to each other's music and give criticism, advice, like, you know,
the
compliments.
biggest thing that I like about it is that we're very good at knowing what each other does. We're very open-minded musically. So me and Danny had this conversation not long ago where we were talking about Danny in his like casual, if you were to open up his phone and like see who he listens to, he might not listen to stuff like what my EP is going to sound like.
Yeah.
Same with me. I probably don't, if you opened up my phone right now, listen to stuff like what Danny generally makes, like within that rivet. But we know each other and we respect the fact that we know what good stuff is when we hear it. Even if it's not our genre or not particular thing or stereotype, whatever, people look at me, obviously, they think heavy shit, obviously. You know, that's kind of just how I look. That's what I made myself out to be with that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's like when you listen to Danny and when you listen to us and stuff, we all have respect for each other's thing, even if it's not particularly what we want to do or even what we listen to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we all know what sounds good generally and what fits well, and that's something that I really like about it, is that it's not, and my biggest thing too is I don't want anybody to ever lie to me, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be some big circle jerk where we're like, oh dude, that's fucking great, but in the back of your head you're like, god damn, that fucking sucked, you know? I don't ever want that. Like, if you don't like it, tell me you don't fucking like it. Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing I was talking about before that I hate with the promotion, is like, I'm not going to repost your shit if I don't like it.
Yeah, right.
And you can be mad about that. You can whatever, you know, it ain't going to fucking happen.
Right.
Not commenting fucking volcano emojis underneath your track.
Yeah, you just got to be true with yourself and the people around you.
Yeah, and it's corny to not be that way and to just continually be like, dude, this is so fire. Dude, this is so fire. Like, how many things can be fire?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, everything that you see apparently is fire because that's what you keep saying.
Yeah.
And that shit is corny to me.
100%. So how's like merchandise wise?
Right.
Danny gave us those white T-shirts with I think what is it, like veins or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it reminds me of the old the Neversoft logo.
Yeah,
from back in the day. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was the drummer who drummed in my death metal band.
Yeah.
That's Tom Babjack. This was designed by his brother, who is also Babjack.
Okay.
So it was funny because when Steve, Alex Babjack is his name, and when Steve was originally doing it, he was like, yeah, Babjack's designing this. So I'm thinking of the Babjack I know, Tom, because I never really met Alex. And then one day, like, I was talking to Tom about it, and he's like, the fuck are you talking about? He's like, that's my brother that does it. And I was like, oh, like, word. But yeah, so he designed that logo for us. And he's a really great guy, too, and just helped us out a lot with that sort of stuff. So he was the one who did all the OCD stuff.
Oh, he did all of it. Because I saw a new, like, a newish looking logo, too, recently.
Yeah, I think he updated it a little bit, maybe. Or it might just be cleaner on the new printing stuff. Steve's got, like, a little printer now. He's been making, like, masks and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's actually, they're coming out really clean. So, and it's just, like, one of those iron-on, press things. Yeah, but they look good.
I'm sure you talked about it with Luke. He's been doing that with T-shirts and stuff like that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I'm sure you guys, like, I mean, making merch now and I guess preparing for when you go to shows and, like, either give them out or sell them and stuff like that, or are you, like, planning on doing that?
We give them out. Yeah, we took, me and Steve took boxes to both of our shows. Just kind of gave them to whoever wanted them and whatever, For me and for my EP, once again with Lottie, she's designing me a couple different things. It's really, really, really cool. I'm very excited to post it and all that sort of stuff. But we're going to make those probably, I want to do some dad hats, some embroidered dad hats.
Yes.
With the logo on the front and then just like dog graves over the band on the back.
Okay.
Just like some very basic kind of stuff. I love hardcore and I like hardcore merch. I think it's very simple. You know what I mean? I like tiny logo here, word on the back.
Yeah.
Or image on the back with words. I'm a big fan of that. I think it's like very simple and straight to the point. So we're looking at doing like some shirts and some dad hats and whatever, just enough to like sell to people who want it, give to, some of my friends and whatever once I actually release the thing and all that.
I'm all about the hats now. Golf hats, dad hats, everything.
I love a good embroidered, a nice like embroidered hipster dad hat.
Yeah.
It's like that shit looks good. Doesn't matter who's wearing it, always looks good.
Just recently, I started becoming a fan of hats. So when you do have that hat, I would definitely love to get one.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
rock the shirt and the hat.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys some nice.
Yeah, I think everyone's a fan.
like
Well,
that.
now people are getting haircuts again, but I think everybody became a fan of hats in the past.
Oh yeah.
Like 6 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
myself included. Yeah.
So you haven't made any music videos yet, have you?
No.
No, you haven't.
No.
Are you planning on doing any for the EP that you have coming out?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to do one to Crosshairs. I was kind of talking to a couple people about it, but then that kind of just fell out, and then this shit started, so that just kind of got lost in the sauce. But for Doggraves, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna do. I have a couple ideas, and stuff like that. It's just, once again, it's working with people who. I'm not famous. I can't just reach out to people and that I know will do what I want it to look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you're working at like a very local level, it's kind of hard to find people who can, understand what you're trying to talk about and what you want it to look like,
Like your vision kind of
Right.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I gotcha.
But I definitely want to do something, I just think the beats and the songs and stuff, they're too cool to waste. And I think you could get some real like weird imagery going on with them and all that, which is really what I want to do.
Would it be like, say you have an idea right now for like a music video, like for one of your songs? Would it be of you, or would it be like clips of like horror movies and stuff, like your intro?
I think it could be like, so like I said before, Vladdy's doing like a little animated kind of thing of the we have when I post it you'll see it, but the logo for Doggraves I'm kind of going to just use for anything I do from here on out is this kind of Acme cartooned wolf version of myself.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a wolf. He's got like a beanie on, whatever. Like how I'm normally dressed. He's got like a black hoodie and a beanie on, and
cool.
whatever. And he's got that, the real long snout, the real like dastardly looking,
Yeah.
drop an anvil on you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of doing a little animation thing with that. So I'd love to do stuff like that. I definitely would like to just actually be in a video too, because I've done a lot of video production and all that sort of stuff when I was in the Navy, and I really like editing and all that sort of stuff, and I like working with cameramen and all that sort of thing, and like coming together on an idea and making it happen in the editing and the post-production and the shooting and whatever, and the director aspect of it. So I'd love to actually get a music video of me, doing something somewhere. I'm a big fan of one-shot sequences.
They're awesome.
I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think when it's done well in a music video, especially like a short, kind of punchy one, like a lot of the stuff I'm doing, I think that's sick. Just like a minute and a half, one-shot follow of like
really
some
cool.
whatever going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that sort of stuff. So
I mean, I don't think they don't actually do it, but the movies that make it look like it's all one shot, like Birdman. Did you ever see that with Michael Keaton?
Birdman
like
has great ones.
Like
Birdman is incredible with that.
Incredible with
I haven't watched 1917. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard that one-shot sequence is fucking
I
insane.
haven't watched it either, but I've heard a lot about that as well.
It's like several minutes too. It's
Yeah.
like a long ass time for a one shot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the coordination that goes into it is what makes it so cool to me from a filming aspect.
And it's
because
the key.
Yeah.
It's the key. Yeah.
There's so little you can't edit. You know what I mean? One continuous motion. That has to be held up and performed well by everybody in it, and the effects have to be good and whatever, and I think that's really cool.
It's all choreography, not just for the effects, not just for the actors, but the cameraman himself who has to move certain ways and whatnot, and to make it look nice with the one shot
100%, yeah.
Have you ever watched Daredevil before?
Yeah, of course.
On Netflix?
Yeah.
Fantastic show.
Amazing. Yeah, the one-shot fight scenes on that. Right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Not only are those great just action scenes in general, but the one-shot, those are some of the best ones I've ever seen. The fighting looks so, it's a lot like John Wick almost, where, that's the thing with those kind of things, too, is if you can get dudes, especially for action movies, that can actually at least fight, or can actually pull off the choreography, and you don't have to do this cut in, cut out bullshit, then the scenes are so much better. Because I remember after I watched John Wick even, and after I saw Daredevil, I tried to watch one of the Bourne movies.
Yeah.
I was like rewatching the Bourne Supremacy, and I was like, I'm getting nauseous watching this fucking fight scene.
Shaky camera
literally,
and everything
in,
like
out,
that.
in, out, because it's all stuntmen coming in and out and whatever. And I was like, this sucks. Like, this is like comically bad compared to like those movies. Because those guys were able to hold it up. And then, yeah.
And if they ever remake Bond, or not Bond, Bourne,
yeah.
If they ever remake Bourne or make a new Bourne, which I'm not
Sure,
saying
will
do
probably
either,
be,
because I don't want them to. But if they were, I'm sure
would be
they
more
would.
like that. Yeah.
Yes,
I think John
100%.
Wick, and even that the Daredevil and the Punisher show was amazing too.
Punisher
with its
was
fight scenes.
fantastic.
Luke Cage had really good fight scenes.
Yeah.
I love that one where he's beating the shit out of him, the Wu-Tang, where he's got the car door and he's busted. Oh my god, bro!
Yeah, that's
and
right.
then Method Man's in the fucking in the convenience store, like, hey, yo, you're Luke Cage. I was dying at that. But yeah, I think now that like those kind of things have really set a precedent as far as like action and fight scenes go.
Oh,
I think it'll be
absolutely.
hard to get away from that now and still have it be like really successful. You know what I mean?
I could see one of your music video being
Having a
you.
very well choreographed
well choreographed.
ass whooping.
Yeah, nice ass whooping to a couple people.
I would be down with that.
We have like speed round questions
Okay.
that we're gonna do. We don't really count, but it's like 5 seconds to answer them kind of deal.
Okay, gotcha.
Before we get into that, I just want to say I love Kickball, by the way.
Thank
the
you.
song that
Yeah,
you
I
guys,
really appreciate
I
that.
have it liked on my Spotify
thanks.
and everything
I
like
really
that.
appreciate
Both
that.
of you did fantastic.
Danny was great on that one.
Yeah, and the artwork on that was cool too.
Steve
On
took
the
that
pitcher's
picture.
mound.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, speed round questions. I have 5 questions for you. All right.
Okay.
All right. We already kind of answered it, you already kind of answered it, but we could go again with it. What instrument would you like to learn?
Yeah, synth.
Okay.
Synth.
Top 3 rappers of all time, not favorite, like just of all time.
How are you gonna give me 5 seconds on that? Oh God.
As long as you want. I just call it speed round
Jesus,
questions.
that's so hard. Can I do favorites instead?
Yeah, do favorites. Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank God. I would say in no order: Big L, Raekwon, and A$AP Rock. A$AP Rocky. A$AP Rock.
Okay.
Different person.
Gotcha.
Very
gotcha.
dope.
What's a big time venue or festival you would like to perform at?
Oh fuck, that's a good one. I could see myself at the. They're getting a little played out at this point, but I could see myself at the golf festival that Tyler the Creator puts on and all that. I forget what it's actually called.
Golf or golf? You said
Golf. I think they just
Golf.
call it like Golf Festival. I can't remember what it's called, but I could see myself playing at that. He gets a lot of like different people at those kind of things. It's kind of like a less shitty, less cursed gathering of the Juggalos. So
okay.
I feel like I could. I feel like I could fit in there without having to put the fucking face paint on. So,
Yeah, right,
yeah.
okay.
I feel like that would probably be dope. As
I
far as
didn't know.
U.S. tours go, I don't know enough about like a European rap, whatever to say. But
Sure.
yeah, that would be dope.
I didn't know Tyler the Creator had his.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
his
Yeah,
own thing
yeah.
like
They do
that.
their own thing now. I'm pretty sure.
Very cool. Xbox Series X or PS5? I know
Oh,
you're
yeah,
a PC
PS5.
person.
PS5.
The PS5.
Yeah, exclusives sold.
exclusives.
Exclusives sell out to me.
Yes.
I need to play the new Spider-Mans. I need to play the next God of War. I can't miss out on those without a doubt. Those 2 games alone and their sequels, well, I would buy a PS5 for.
Yeah.
Because those are some of my favorite games I've ever played. They're phenomenal.
I think for Halloween you should be Kratos.
Yeah.
For real. And last one, another big interest of yours besides music.
Oh,
And
I already
that
mentioned.
could be like a hobby.
I already mentioned wrestling.
Okay, yeah.
And stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I was wrestling, honestly. Since the pandemic started, I've been getting so much back into watching Raw and SmackDown and the pay-per-views, and I've been watching a lot of Japanese wrestling lately, which is the shit.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. They beat the hell out of us as far as wrestling
Really?
goes. Oh, yeah. A lot of American guys go over there now because it's so much better than our wrestling, but they do not fuck around. That shit, it's still choreographed, it's still whatever, obviously, it's not 100% real.
Yeah.
But they beat the fucking shit out of each other. It is not like here where it's all like, it's pretty faked up now at this point. It's not
Yeah.
even like the 90s like it was, Stone Cold and them where they were really hitting each other in a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of choreographed now, much more than then. But yeah, Japanese, some of those
Interesting.
matches are fucking haunting to watch. They
I was-
fucking fight.
I was never really big with WWE that much
Right.
or anything like that. But if you're telling me it's like really intense
It's
over
fucking-
there,
it's
then
badass.
I would definitely check it out.
And it's so dope. It's just one of the reasons I love their culture so much is just their appreciation of like the art form and stuff. Same way goes with like anime and video games, stuff like that. They have such appreciation for like the art form, and you can see like just how intense they are about good wrestling. Like it's not like the kind of beer swilling whatever that it can be over here, where it kind of has that that almost redneck kind of dumb connotation to it, you know, that it can get.
Yeah.
With them, it's like if you see a guy land a great move, you see them like it is like it's admiration, it's awe, it's like they appreciate the performance of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which is really sick. I'm actually trying to. I've told like a couple people about this, but I'm trying to go to a wrestling school outside of Rowan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a pro wrestling school down there that's
nice.
like produced a lot of guys that went to like WWE and stuff.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go there. It's called the Monster Factory. So I'm trying to go there and like train while I'm going
that
to
would be
school
so
at Rowan.
sick, dude.
Yeah, I think I'd be pretty fucking badass.
Oh hell yeah, dude. Fuck
Basically,
yeah.
the pandemic happened, and I was like, well, fuck this. I was like, I don't want to work.
Yeah.
Like a normal job.
Yeah.
I was like.
I think a lot of people were starting to realize that once they got out of their
because everybody got like a little taste of like, oh God.
Like,
you know,
right.
Everything's so like fragile now, so it's like, I feel like I'd rather go do something that I'm like really, really about.
Hell yeah.
Than just like, I'll get a job in whatever, because that pays. Like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
That's all I had for you, man.
Cool.
I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I think we had a great conversation here.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, man. I did want to say something else. I forgot it. Whatever. You want to give them a plug right now where they could find your music?
Yeah, sure.
Instagram and stuff like that?
Charlie Wolfe 95 on Instagram. Charlie Wolfe on Spotify. Dog Graves coming out soon, hopefully. Shouts out Aoi, real name, Vladi, all the people that were helping me with this. You know, it's nothing that's going to break the world, but, you know, it's fucking fun, and I like doing it, and I think other people will like it, and I'm just looking forward to putting it out. So, yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
And See No Evil, of course, always.
I am definitely excited to listen to it as well.
Thanks, dude.
I haven't. Yeah, of course. I always love, like, doing the podcast, helping out, like, exposure-wise type of deal, and, of course, just, like, supporting, too.
Yeah,
absolutely. I love it all.
Yeah.
It's, like, the whole community base.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
That's
what I
what's
mean?
fun about it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, thank you again, everyone. This is Charlie Wolfe.
Thank you.
I want to thank my cameraman, as always, Joe Critelli. A little quiet today, but it's all right.
He looks very sexy, by the way, compared to the last time I saw him. He's really, It's really handsomed out. He looks
yes,
great.
indeed.
Dummy thick.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Podcast with Frank, and follow all of Charlie Wolfe's Instagram and Spotify and all that good jazz.
OnlyFans.
That'll also be in the link on the bottom as well. And also make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And we will see you next week for our 40th episode. Peace out.
If you're an inexperienced fisherman,
Yeah.
and you want to go out and catch a lot of fish, somebody's teaching you that day, like you hardly know how to cast, spring is a good time for that, because you can almost always find the fish where they're sitting, and you'll catch a ton of them. And that's mostly like panfish and stuff. Bass are kind of a different animal. You really got to target them sometimes. Whenever they want to bite, they do, and if they don't, you really, really got to try and dig down and try to catch them. In the summer, as early as you can get up, even at night, it's good to go. But when the sun just maybe starts to rise, that's when they usually like to feed the most in the summer. In the winter, it's usually you don't want to go early in the morning, because that's when it's coldest and there's no warmth. When that sun is hitting the water, they're looking for logs that are, dark colored rocks, and they want that heat to hit the rocks and reflect right back, and that's where it's warmest, and that's where they swim to, and they just sit there.
Gotcha.